Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you are always given health and happiness. In this video, we will talk about ratios. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Aulia Azizah. My major is Mathematics Education Class C 2019 at Antasari State Islamic University Banjarmasin. This video is great to fulfill the final semester assignment of English for Mathematics course taught by lecturer Mr. Ahmad Wafa Nizami MPD. I hope you enjoy it. Happy watching! In this video, we will talk about first, writing ratios, second, from writing to ratio, and third, equivalent ratios. Okay, the first we will talk about writing ratios. Understanding ratio is very closely related to fractions. With ratio, comparisons are made between equal size parts or units. There are three main ways to write a ratio. The first, word form. To write it in the word for your writing in the word 2 in between the numbers. For the example, we want to compare 1 with 3, so the ratio is 1 to 3. The second, how we write the ratio, we might write it in column form, where we could write it 1 colon 3, but we will treat that as 1 to 3. And the last way how we write the ratio is in a fraction form. Written as 1 over 3, we would also read this as a ratio of 1 to 3 or a third. The first number or 1 is the numerator, the second number or 3 is the denominator. Okay, second, we will talk about from writing to ratio. If Yuna has 5 chocolates and Andy has 4 chocolates, we compare them using a ratio. And the ratio would be Yuna and Andy have a 5 to 4 ratio of chocolate. So, 4 Yuna's chocolates and 4 Andy's chocolates. Again, we remember we can write them as in column form or fraction form, but that's a ratio is so when we get a word problem and it says Yuna has 5 chocolates and Andy has 4 chocolates, write it as a ratio. You could write it as 4 to 5. 4 colon 5 or 5 colon 4 or 5 over 4. That's the ratio of Yuna's chocolates to Andy's chocolates. So, let's do a quick simple word problem. The park has 2 banyan trees for every 7 sparrows. Write that as a ratio. So, it's a ratio of 2 banyan trees to 7 sparrows. It's written banyan trees first, sparrows second. So, we could write it like this. 2 to 7 ratio, 2 to 7, 2 colon 7, or 2 over 7. First number goes first, the second number goes second, unless it said the park has 2 banyan trees and 7 sparrows. Write this as a ratio of sparrows to banyan trees, then it would be switching things.
But for the most case, unless it's a trick questions, it's just gonna write it in the order that it appears in the word problem. So just be aware the only time you'd switch the numbers is if it did say at the end, write a ratio of sparrows to banyan trees, then you would write the number of sparrows first in the number of banyan trees second.
Different types of ratio. Part to part ratio, part to whole ratio. To understand the different types of ratio, let's take a look at this example. There are 10 children at the park. 4 are girls and 6 are boys. So, the ratio of girl to boys is 4 to 6, and the ratio of boys to girls is 6 to 4. These ratios are example of part to part of ratio. Now, ye already know the part to part ratio. Let's now proceed part to whole ratio. If the problem is asking for the ratio of the girl to all the park, the ratio will be 4 to 10 because there are 10 kids in the park and 4 of there are girls. Similarly, the ratio of boys to all the kids in the park is 6 to 10 since there are 6 boys out of 10 kids. So, this ratio are an example of part to whole ratio. In the part to part ratio, we just compare the two things like girls to boys and boys to girl. Well, in the part to whole ratio, we compared it to the total number of things like girls to all the kids and boys to all the kids. The final part of this lesson is talking about equivalent ratios. Now remember, you can write a ratio as a fraction, so this is basically another of saying equivalent fraction. If I had the fraction of 5 over 10, or in other words, the ratio of 5 to 10, I would need to reduce this fraction into an equivalent form. To do that, I would divide both the top and bottom of the fraction by the same number. Now, why I picked the number 5? Because 5 is the greatest common factor of both 5 and 10. To find the greatest common factor, what you do is list of the factors of the numerator. So the factor of 5 are 1 times 5. And the factors of 10 are 1, 2, 5, and 10. Those are the numbers that multiply together to give you 10. 1 times 10, 2 times 5. The largest number that is in both of those lists is 5. That means that 5 is our greatest common factor. So, you divide the top divided by 5 and the bottom divided by 5, and you get your equivalent ratio of your equivalent fraction. So, 5 over 10 is equal to 1/2. In other words, if you have a ratio of 5 to 10, it's the same as having a ratio of 1 to 2. Another way that you can make equivalent ratio is actually when you multiply. You can multiply the top and the bottom of a fraction times any number as long as it's the same number on the top and bottom, and you'll get an equivalent ratio. So 3 to 7 is equivalent to 6 to 14. Again, the number 3 doesn't matter. You can multiply it times any number as long as it's the same number on the top and the bottom, and it will be an equivalent ratio, or in other words, equivalent fraction. Okay, that's it from me. I hope you can understand my explanation. I'm so sorry for many mistakes. Because I'm not a perfect human. Thank you for watching until the end. See you. Bye bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.